Hello, and welcome to the third episode of the Dog Pound Rundown. We are here again to recap the previous week at Old Rochester Regional.
This week, we have footage of ORR alum Gerald Lanagan. We sit down with Mr. Devoll to speak to us about the ORR sign. We also have highlights from the hockey game and footage from the F.O.R.M concert. Lastly, we will finish with the week ahead with Mr. Devoll. But first, let's start with the sophomore Gerald Lanagan at West Point.
West Point is a staple in this country's history, with alumni lists featuring those such as Robert E. Lee, Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Ulysses S. Grant. Gerald Lanagan, a West Point cadet, talked to students in the auditorium about what the average day life of someone who attends West Point is like.
Most of you guys know me. I graduated a couple years back. Some of the newer guys probably didn't know me, but I'm Gerald Lanagan from Mattapoisett, majoring in econ and business management, and I'm graduating in 2019. The biggest thing that West Point can provide for you is like opportunities outside of the classroom. For example, like they have pretty much every single major has a huge number of different like opportunities that you can do over the summer. And like, for example, I'm going to S&P 500 this summer to intern there. But like my friend, like my roommate he could have gone to Russia in like 2 different places to study for a month over the summer. I have friends going to like, one of my best friends is going to China over spring break just to go learn with the history department. It's like amazing all the places that they'll send you to. So wake up at like 6:30 in the morning, throw on the uniform of the day. We never wear this. This is just like our fancy uniform. And then they said I had to wear it for you guys. So. I don't know. So we throw on the uniform of the day, and we go out to our morning formation, which is we basically all stand there. They take accountability, make sure no one ran off in the middle of the night and abandoned this awesome place we call West Point. And most people tend to have like 3 to 4 classes a day, so it's not too bad of a workload. And then after that, at 4 o'clock, if you're on like a core squad team, which is a Division I team, you'll go up and practice wherever you have your practice. And if you're not, during the specific times of year, you'll have like the intramural sports, which is called company athletics, and then you can pick whichever one you want, and you can go and you'll do that in the afternoons from like 4 to like 5-ish every other day. And then after that, you have pretty much from 5 off until you want to go to bed. So you can have an optional dinner at like 6 to 7, and the optional dinners used to be a buffet style line, but they're like redoing the whole buffet thing. So we have sit down dinners again, which no one's happy about. Like that. And there's also like advanced military training that you can do, which a lot of people decide to do. So this past summer I did air assault school, which was pretty fun. We got to like fast rope out of helicopters for 3 weeks in the beginning of my summer. That was a good time. And I know a lot, like they offer so many advanced ones that you can get into if you like try out for them. They're called like competitive military training. It's called a MIAD, but I don't even know what it's abbreviated for. But you can go to like, one of my friends is going to Brazilian mountain school, so he's going to go to Brazil for a month. Another one of my friends is going to like, I'm pretty sure he's going to like French airborne school. So he's going to basically do airborne school in France. Tuition is $0. Yeah, they pay you every year to go there. So every month I get paid because I'm in the Army, I guess. So like your pay increases as you go. So you go on their website and there's like this, they explain it pretty well, but you also have to get like, you have to write to a senator or a congressman and you have to like apply for their approval to get there because you have to get sponsored by one of them. Other than that, it's pretty much like a normal application. You write some essays, give them your SAT scores. All right. So I'm on the women's basketball team. Yeah. So I go and like I train with them and like basically like work out with them and try and help them win. And it gets me out of a lot of things that I would have to do otherwise, like marching or like the company athletics. So it's a pretty good deal. Molly thinks I'm lame, but she's gonna think I'm lame anyways because I'm her older brother. So West Point was like the academics are like modeled off of this guy named like Salvanus Thayer, who is a super old guy, and he made the Thayer system where you study before the class and you like learn the stuff by yourself and you come in and you ask questions about it in school. And I know we basically did that here. So that was like, a lot of people weren't used to that and they really had to adjust to it. So, I mean, it's like more of a thing with like the English, history, all those classes, and not as much with math because the teachers will like help you out with math. But it was a huge help to come from like that system in general. And the classes that we took here, I took a decent amount of AP classes here, and it really prepared me well. Like the classes, I think they're easier at West Point than they were here for me. Honestly, I get a lot more sleep there. It's nice. Navy game. The Army-Navy game is unreal. It is so much fun. It's like the highlight of my fall usually. It's mandatory. Well, all the football games are mandatory because everybody loves the Army team. And so we all go to all the football games, whether we like it or not. And but the Army-Navy game, everyone actually likes going to. So it's usually hosted by it's either in Baltimore or it's in it's in Jersey, in Meadowlands, yeah. And like everyone gets you can take pass that weekend. It's a free pass. So we went like a lot of people go out and stay in hotels around the area and go out before the games and like the night before. You don't have to officially branch until first a year. So it's like they have like this big like night where because you can put in your branch preferences, and then like they have it in an envelope, and like everyone comes into an auditorium like this, and they give you your envelope. And they make like a big deal about it because everyone's kind of nervous because you might not get what you want. And then they like have everyone pass the envelopes around. Like they're like, all right, pass the envelope to your left, and they pass to the left. Pass it back one, and like they like make you so nervous because you don't know where your envelope is, and then like at the end it ends up like back in your hands, and they're like, all right, open them. And then you get to just like you know what you're doing. So I won't know until I'm a senior, but I'm probably gonna do something combat arms, so like infantry or field artillery, something like that.
Okay, this was outstanding. Let's give a round of applause.
Many have noticed that the old Rochester Regional sign out front has started working again. We sat down with Principal Mr. Devoll to ask him questions about the history of the sign.
So when was the last time the sign out front worked? So this is going to be a little bit of Mike Devoll history, like what I think happened. It might be a little bit of folklore and telling tall tales, but this is what I think happened. I think the sign last worked, I'm going to say 2005, okay? Am I sure of that? No, but I'm going to say 2005, 2006. Maybe a little bit later than that, maybe 2007, 2008. I remember being at a school committee meeting back in the mid-2000s where a community member raised concern about the electricity used to keep that on all the time. And so that's when I remember that it was working. So who decided to get it up and running again? So that's been a project of mine for a while. I think one of the most important things we can do as a school is to promote our school. And it's funny, I think that most people, students, parents, when they drive by the school never even realize that that was a working sign at one point. Some never even noticed that underneath the words Old Rochester Regional Sign was I guess you would call it a LCD or some type of a monitor that at one time did work. So I remember back when it first started working, I loved driving by it because one summer we listed all of the graduates and where they were going after high school. So each kid had their name and where they were going, and then it rotated to the next kid, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. So I've been thinking, what's wrong with that? Why isn't it working? So, I won't say it was my project. I know other people have looked at it. I started to really get on it this year. So how can the school inform the community about what's going on in the school? I think that it's like a showcase. It's what people see when they go by the school, and it's attention grabbing. So it's quick. We can't have lengthy messages, but for example, school play, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. You say the name of the play, the dates and the times, and people that go by know that there's an upcoming production. We highlighted our F.O.R.M concert this past week. F.O.R.M concert, the time. So people that may not be connected to the school, maybe they're not on our social media platform or they don't get the weekly emails, but their community members are interested, they can see what's happening. So who puts the text that just displayed on the site? It's a great story. I think it's a funny story, and I'm going to share it. So I went this summer and I had a company come out and give me an estimate to replace the sign, because what I had been told is that the company that originally did it, they went out of business, and there was no way to repair it. It was irreparable. So I said, okay, well, maybe we could get a company to give us a quote for a new one. So we had a company come out, gave us an estimate, and it was expensive. It was super expensive. And so I kind of sat on it and said, nothing, not going to do anything with it. Then, I said, you know what? We do have some groups in the school that have some funding and some fundraising activities, and I'm thinking that maybe, if you drive by schools right now, lots of things, there's a sign, and underneath it might say, gift of the class of whatever, or gift of such and such. So I said, wouldn't it be great if there was a group within the school that could restore the sign and have underneath it, gift of the class, so that everybody remember it. So I went to student council, because they're the group that has the most pull in fundraising, and I made this long presentation to student council, and they were like, oh, that sounds great, and then I told them the price, and they were like, no thank you, and they were great about it, they were awesome, but it was quite expensive. So I then posted on to the school's Facebook page. I said, any local leads on a sign or some help, hoping that maybe we could get a quote from a different company that would be a lot cheaper. And so next thing you know, Signature Signs in Dartmouth, who has had, their family that owns it has had students go through the old Rochester school system, they said, hey, why don't we come out and take a look at it? And we'll just let you know what we think, because they do stuff like that. So they came out one day, and the guy from Signature Sign said, let me go out and just take a look. I called John Ashley, who's our building tech support, and I said, John, they're here. And John had spent a long time working on this sign and really was aware of what the needs were of it. So they went out, they looked at it, and then John said, you know what, let's just throw some power at it. Let's essentially turn it on. Let's see what happens. And so they turn it on, and it works. They sent power there. It was awesome. I got this text message on my phone. Guess what? The sign works. And I thought it was a joke. I'm like, you're kidding. And then I got some screenshots and some pictures. Like, oh my God, it was hysterical. The thing worked, just literally by flipping the switch on. But it was really funny. It said Happy Holidays, and this was in March, and it said the time, and the time was wrong, and it had the old school website. It was hysterical. So I'm like, oh my God, this is a riot. So we turned it on, but we didn't have the means to change this message. So like, oh crap. But the sign company recommended we keep it on to keep it running, just to make sure that it worked. So for days, you drive by the school, it says Happy Holidays. So I tried to make it a joke. It was really funny, but at least it was on. So then John Ashley got it to the point where he could update the signage and could have a new message up every day, which has been awesome. And the other funny part is, because it's old technology, John actually has to walk outside with the laptop with the software on it and connect to the sign and make the changes. So it's not ideal in the least, but John has ordered us an upgrade so that we can do it remotely. So I'm excited to get the keys to the car here and start to promote things.
With recent news of the Old Rochester Regional Music Department being at risk of getting shut down, we went over to the latest F.O.R.M concert to see the performance from all 3 schools in the district.
Something in your eyes I see. Soon begin
This year made sports history. The ORR Fairhaven hockey team has never made it to states in the program's history. This year, the Dogs fought all season for a chance to win the state championship at the TD Garden.
Sadly, however, the Bulldogs couldn't pull off the victory against a very well-deserving Shrewsbury team. The Dogs never gave up the fight and played to the best of their ability. This school will truly never forget this legendary team.
From the South Coast Conference 2017 League Champions, your Bulldogs of Old Rochester Fairhaven. At forward, the senior, number 4, Noah Strong. Also at forward, junior, number 11, Taylor Labonte. Also at forward, a senior, captain of the Bulldogs, number 10, Sam Henry. On defense, senior, number 20, Landon Logan. And also on defense, a sophomore, number 21, Owen Powers. And signing in goal, a senior, number 40, Chase Cunningham. The remaining Bulldog players, the head coach, Mr. Eric Labonte.
Now, like every episode, we will finish with The Week Ahead with Principal Mike Devoll.
Good evening, everybody. It's Sunday, March 26th, and it's the Rundown. Last week, we sent our email out to the community. We highlighted a rule. It's a good practice to remind people about the different rules that are in our handbook. These aren't new rules. These are just rules that we want to be aware of. So that'll continue in the weekly email that goes out. The rule of the week, just so that we're clear what last week's was. We highlighted the rule around final exams, and the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because we've had 4 snow days, and for underclassmen we have to make up those snow days, and we make them up at the end of the year. So it's pushed the last day of school back to June 21st. So what I want students to be aware of is that they have to take their exams when they're scheduled. So if you were planning on a trip on June 20th, because the original last day of school was on the 15th, that becomes problematic. So we have to stick to our final exam schedule, so exams will be running till the 21st. So not great news, but you did celebrate when there were snow days, so there is the other end of that. All right, this upcoming week, some people in the building call it Hell Week. I like to call it Production Week. It's a production of our school play. Production Week is the drama club is in production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Opening night is this week, and I'll get there in the calendar ahead, but it's a busy week for a huge percentage of our students. We're proud of the work they've put in, and I'm looking forward to seeing the show. So Monday, March 27th is a day 5, and that's all I have to say about Monday. It's a boring day. Tuesday, March 28th, day 6. Another boring, slow day, except there'll be a field hockey meeting after school that day in the library. Another thing to think about on Tuesdays, now that spring sports have started, all student athletes are to report to the cafeteria on Tuesdays. That's the mandatory extra help day for students. That's a 2:15 report time. Wednesday, March 29th, day 7 in our schedule. Slow day. We'll see you all in school. Thursday, March 30th, day 8. We'll have our normal advisory block, which is a 9:09 to 9:29 advisory period for students. The topic of this week's advisory is resiliency. At 6:30, there's parent information night for a trip to Barcelona for students interested in taking a school trip to Barcelona for next school year. And finally, the highlight of Thursday, March 30th, is opening night for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Opening night is 7:30 p.m. Thursday, March 30th. Tickets can be bought in the main office during the week or at the door Thursday night. So we wish our drama club luck. Friday, March 30th, day 1 in our cycle. It will be the second of our production nights. Again, the play begins at 7:30. It's a slow week in terms of events and activities. That's not a bad thing because we're going to be very busy after school in the evening preparing for our production. So that's a wrap. That's the rundown. Enjoy the show.
Well, that about does it for tonight's episode. I'm Connor. Thank you for watching.
And I'm Jacob. Have a good one.